Alright, this is something I didn't show from the beginning. Is you want to make sure you tie your steering wheel up to keep it straight, because you don't want it to turn while you disconnect the steering shaft. Alright, so I forgot to mention that. Let's move on to the front. This is the new rack and pinion, and as you can see, that's the old rack and pinion. So once you take those two bolts out, it releases the rack and pinion. Then come over here and you take your tie rod end off right there, what I showed earlier. This is that tie rod end. Alright, now what I did is I started loosening up everything first. I took these two bolts out, which are, you see that hole and that hole, that's where those bolts go. I took those loose first, then I disconnected the with this piece right here from the actual steering shaft. And the steering shaft is hold on, get my light. Alright, there's the steering shaft right there. Alright, that connects to the tip of that right there. Alright, so I took that bolt out, which is that bolt that's laying right there on the ground. And the size of that bolt is 13 millimeter. Yep, it's 13 millimeter. Alright, and once you take that bolt out, then you're gonna have a hard time, at least I had a hard time, disconnecting that shaft from the tip of this right here, disconnecting that steering shaft. Once you get that disconnected, then you're gonna disconnect these two lines. These lines, they connect right here, and I'll show you the two lines in a second. There's your two lines. They're two different sizes, and they have these little gaskets on the end. Okay, so let's see which one. This is the larger one, and I'm not sure what size that is because I just used this adjustable wrench right here to get that one off. This one right here, which is the smaller one, that's a size 18. So you just disconnect those, or at least loosen them up, okay? And I say I didn't drain the system first, only because this is an older truck, a lot of old stubborn bolts, so I wasn't even sure I would be able to disconnect all of this stuff. So then you drain your system from right here. This is where I drained my system, into a bucket. I had a bucket that I just placed underneath, and I pulled the two lines off, and then those are the two lines that connect right here, okay? And then those two lines, one runs up to your pump. One of those lines runs right there to the pump, okay? And the other line runs to the actual rack and pinion itself, which is, let's see, probably, I mean, you'll be able to figure it out, you know. It's one of these lines. I can't really see right now, but anyway. Alright, so you drain your system. It took a while to drain the system. It probably took a good, probably 30 minutes for it to just completely drain. Okay, and what I did once I disconnected everything, of course you disconnect your tie rod end on this side also, which is the right side of my truck. Once you have that disconnected, I pretty much just wiggled the rack. The rack is, you know, it's up in here. So I just kind of just tug and pull, you know, shifted from left to right. I pretty much took the whole rack and just shifted it to the left side. I took the whole rack while it was still up under here, and I shifted it to my left, which would be the right side of the truck. Right side. Alright. and then I kind of just pulled it down, and it just came straight out. I mean, I just said it came straight out, but it took me a long time to get it out. But what I did notice is when I reassemble, I think it would be a whole lot easier if you just took the rack and slid it all the way across and outside that fender well, because I had to take, originally I didn't even take that tire off, but after probably about a good hour of trying to maneuver this rack, I finally just decided to take it off. But I got the rack out anyway from the bottom. But I'm gonna show you something. Alright, there's a pretty nice sized gap through there. So when I reassemble the new rack and pinion, I'm gonna slide it straight through there. Alright, and really, I mean, like I say, if I had to do it over again, I'd take the tire off from the beginning, but you really don't even have to take the tire off. The only reason why I had to take the tire off is I had a really stubborn tie rod end that I just could not get out. I just couldn't get it off, so I had to take the tire off to give me more room. But now I have to connect this outer tie rod in, which I'm gonna buy a new tie rod in because I ended up damaging this one trying to get it out. It was just old and rusted and just, anyway, I couldn't get it out. So that's what I'm gonna do when I reassemble it. I'm gonna slide the rack straight through there. I'm gonna go ahead and mount those bolts. I'll probably just hand tighten those two bolts into the rack. I'll probably go ahead and put this tire back on, simply because I don't like being up underneath this truck. I mean, I have a jack and, you know, a few jack stands and all of that, but, you know, for more support and more safety, but I don't really like being up underneath the truck if I don't have to be. So I'm gonna put the tire back on, bolt the tire, and then I'll just get back under there and disconnect everything. That way I can just lay on my back and be a little bit more secure, because the truck is not being supported by jack stands or a jack. So that's just my preference. I'm working in the garage with minimal tools, and that's pretty much it. And I'll try to do another video of the reassemble, but it's just kind of difficult because I definitely need two hands, and I'm laying on my back in the garage. So if I miss anything, I'll go back and edit the video, but I think that's pretty much it. Just make sure you keep that steering wheel straight. You definitely want to keep that straight, and, you know, disconnect the lines, disconnect the two outer tie rod ends, which is going to look like this on both sides. Disconnect those and get a little rubber mallet, probably tap right here in that tie rod end. It'll sit in there just like this. You take that crown nut off first. It probably has a cotter pin. This side didn't have the cotter pin. It was just a regular old nut on there. So a couple taps, it should come out. Mine didn't. Had to really bang on it. Anyway, get that out. Like I said, disconnect your lines, drain the system. Take those two big bolts out right there. Disconnect the top end of the rack from the actual steering shaft itself. Like I said, it took me a while to get that off too, but just a little bit of tugging and pulling, I was able to get it off. So as you can see, that's the top end. And the rest, I mean, you just kind of have to improvise, man, as far as trying to wiggle this thing out of there. Like I said, I got it out of there from the bottom, but this time I'm gonna try something different. So, all right.